Tonight on CTV News, remembering a life cut short.
She was so warm and funny and kind. She was just a pleasure.
The community rallies around the mother of an 8-year-old girl killed after falling from a high-rise balcony in Yaletown. The man accused of brutally killing his wife Bailey McCourt in a Kelowna parking lot is now facing a more serious charge. Reaction from the family. And
what Canadians want is to invest in their country.
Federal election averted. The Liberals narrowly survive a confidence vote on the budget.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the heartbreaking death of an 8-year-old girl at a downtown condo. We're learning more about the child who plunged from the 23rd story. And tonight, the mother of the girl is receiving an outpouring of support from her community. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
When Masa Hediadzada started her new job as director of Willowbrae Childcare Academy in Squamish, the company's CEO got to know her 8-year-old daughter, Gandam.
She was so warm and funny and kind. She was just a pleasure. She was a pleasure to be around, and she cared deeply about other people, right? She was very intelligent, and she's just a beautiful soul.
Gandam was visiting her father's 23rd floor condo in Yaletown on November 11th when she died in a fall from the balcony.
I was in complete disbelief. Masa's husband, Jorge, informed me over WhatsApp. I thought his phone had been hacked. I thought that this can't be. Gandam was just in the academy the week prior, playing with the kids, as she often did after she was out of school. And I even responded saying, "Who is this?" Because I didn't believe it.
In an email, Vancouver police said, "Through our investigation, we have gained a better understanding of the circumstances that led to this tragedy. We owe it to the little girl's family and loved ones to share our findings with them first before disclosing them publicly."
It's unimaginable, really, obviously, what they're dealing with, and there's still shock, there's still disbelief.
A GoFundMe has been created for Gandam's mother, Masa, who is 7 months pregnant.
They have enormous expenses, final expenses. They have family that's arriving from Iran and Brazil. And, you know, I don't know what the next 6 months, 12 months holds for them. And the last thing any of us want them thinking about is any financial pressure.
Gandam will be laid to rest in a service in Squamish on Wednesday.
I'll remember Gandam for her smile, her warmth, her humor, and just her energy.
Stollery treasures this bead bracelet the little girl gave him for the opening of the academy in September.
It's just who she was, incredibly thoughtful and kind, and yeah, I'll cherish it.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, West Vancouver.
There are new and upgraded charges against a Kelowna man accused of beating his estranged wife to death with a hammer in a parking lot last summer. CTV's Lauren Pullen is following this in the Breaking News Center. Lauren, James Plover is now facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of Bailey McCourt.
And McCourt's family is reacting to that news tonight. The 32-year-old mother of two was killed in the broad daylight attack on July 4th. Plover was initially charged with second-degree murder, but new evidence submitted to police led to that upgrade to first degree, according to the BC Prosecution Service. McCourt's family say they are relieved, but also questioned why it took so long. Plover is now also facing a new charge of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing bodily harm involving a second victim in the case. Now, just hours before the killing, Plover was convicted of domestic violence charges and released as he awaited sentencing. He is set to be back in court next Tuesday. Mijung.
Thanks for this, Lauren. More breaking news in Ottawa. Prime Minister Mark Carney and his Liberal government have narrowly survived a final confidence vote to pass their federal budget.
Yeas pour 170, 170. Nays contre 168, 168.
Je déclare la motion adoptée. Thank you, sir.
The budget passed late this afternoon by a vote of 170 to 168. It was a make-or-break vote for the Liberals, with the party just 2 seats shy of a majority. The Bloc and Conservatives had made it clear they would not be supporting it, while Green Party leader Elizabeth May said earlier today she planned to vote in favor. The budget was able to pass due to 5 MPs abstaining from voting. And now, with the motion passed, the finance minister is able to take the next step by tabling the budget implementation bill. There are new signs that Canada's housing market may be stabilizing. Fresh numbers from the Canadian Real Estate Association show home sales rose slightly in October, continuing a slow but steady climb. Here's CTV's Reagan Hasegawa to break it all down.
The Canadian Real Estate Association says national home sales were up just under 1% in October, the 6th increase in the past 7 months, as buyers continue adjusting to today's mortgage environment.
Most borrowers are now getting quoted rates at 3 point something as opposed to, a year and a half ago it was 5 point something. I think that could be $1,000 a month difference.
He says clear direction for the Bank of Canada is also building confidence.
We've really got a trend going here.
The Lower Mainland is currently a buyer's market.
I don't recall a time when interest rates were falling and prices were going in the same direction. Historically, there's an inverse relationship between interest rates and prices.
Metro Vancouver's market is being shaped by uncertainty, higher inventory, and cautious buyers.
We're trending lower on both the price front and the number of homes selling every month.
The Fraser Valley is already seeing movement. Realtors here say sales rose 17% month over month, but overall activity is down 16% compared to this time last year. Small condo sellers continue to struggle with high supply and financing challenges, while detached buyers, especially those upsizing, may find more room to negotiate.
So if you're a buyer looking to get in the market like a first-time home buyer, there's a ton of opportunity because you're getting a very good deal because that sector of the market is struggling.
Metro Vancouver now has near decade-high inventory. Economists say the real test will come after winter, when confidence, supply, and mortgage rates collide in the spring market. Reagan Hasegawa, CTV News, Langley.
The NDP government has rolled out a new decade-long plan to secure major projects and build up the province's skilled workforce. The so-called Look West economic strategy aims to land billions of dollars in private investment, fast-track nation-building projects, and double funding for trades training. CTV's Rob Buffum has more.
Premier Eby met virtually Monday with the Prime Minister and fellow premiers to talk growing the economy.
I said that the federal government needs to be relentless and remorseless in pushing for economic growth wherever they can find it.
Eby also touting the province's vision Monday for BC's economic future, a plan aimed at generating $200 billion in investment over the next 10 years, including mines and LNG plants already approved as major nation-building projects.
We are bringing forward shovel-ready projects and projects that are in the final stages of investment decision.
Eby and Jobs Minister Ravi Kahlon point to $240 million in funding for skilled trades training over the next 3 years. Funding it announced last week that it says will speed up completion of projects, including the North Coast transmission line.
Today's more than just an announcement. It's about setting a bold course for British Columbia.
Eby says the province will grow various sectors from AI to life sciences in a bid to diversify trade away from the U.S. The province also aims to secure 35% of federal defense vessel contracts. The Premier expressing his support for the federal Liberals' budget.
The budget is one that rewards and recognizes those provinces and territories that are willing to step up and drive growth.
The opposition say investment in BC will be hampered by concerns over Indigenous title to lands, triggered by the recent Couch and Tribes court case, seen as potentially threatening private property rights.
What are the private property rights? How do you do investments in this province? How do you evaluate an investment? How do you attract the capital from banks or the private sector with this kind of uncertainty?
Uncertainty the government hopes to counteract with a plan it says will double its skilled apprenticeships to build major projects faster in the next decade. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
It is 6:09. Let's take a look outside from Grouse Mountain. Don't the lights look pretty? And also here's a live shot of Robson Street. And I was out this afternoon on Robson Street, and it looked like it was going to start raining.
It wanted to.
Any second.
But it didn't.
It didn't. And so I had my umbrella, but I didn't need it.
You were ready, so that is good. Yeah, cloudy skies today. We had some breaks of blue sky as well. And dry conditions will continue into tomorrow. Here's a look at temperatures across the lower mainland right now. 8 degrees at the harbor as well as in North Vancouver. You'll get 7 degrees in Burnaby, Surrey, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. A touch cooler in Pitt Meadows, sitting at 6 degrees. As we head through the overnight, chance of a drizzle or two. Fog developing through the overnight, dropping down to 6. Into tomorrow, we'll see cloudy skies once again with a high of 9.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And a couple more dry days before the rain returns. I've got those details coming up with the full forecast.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Ann. A high-risk sex offender who police say poses a particular threat to young boys was released from custody today and will be living in Vancouver. 60-year-old Sean Deacon will serve a sentence on a long-term supervision order for possession of and accessing child pornography. Police say Deacon is bound by a number of court-imposed conditions, including avoiding places where children under 16 are likely to be, as well as devices that can access the internet. Anyone who sees him violating any of his conditions is asked to call 911. TD Bank has settled a human rights complaint filed by a member of the Heiltsuk First Nation who is also of South Asian descent. The man's identity was questioned when he tried to open up a bank account in 2022. After filling out forms online, Sharif Mohammed Bamji went to a TD branch in Surrey to complete the steps in opening a bank account. He says the teller believed the Indian status card he presented as photo ID was fraudulent and was turned down. He filed a human rights complaint, and the bank has agreed to a settlement. It includes general damages, funding for the Heiltsuk Nation support team in Vancouver, and improved staff training around Indian status cards.
It means just a new beginning and putting closure and putting this behind me and hopefully finding that these solutions will bring some better response and service for people.
As part of the settlement, Bamji and TD Bank executives took part in a traditional washing ceremony in Bella Bella. It's shown as a form of restorative justice that acknowledges harm and allows the parties to move forward. An urgent search is underway for an elderly man last seen on Grouse Mountain. Rescuers are asking the public to keep an eye out for 84-year-old Wongil Kim. The Surrey man was last seen on the Dam Little Goat Alpine Trail around 12:20 Sunday afternoon. Ground crews with thermal drones and a helicopter team using a life seeker device have been scouring the backcountry. Anyone with information on his disappearance is asked to contact police immediately. A demonstration was held at Surrey City Hall today over a prospective supportive housing project.
Hard drug users being housed in the same complex where there's vulnerable low-income residents, we feel that's wrong.
Residents of South Surrey showed up in force, voicing their concerns over the proposed building at 152nd Street and 19th Avenue. The Semiahmoo South Surrey Coalition represents more than 8,000 residents, and they're demanding a public hearing to ensure community worries are addressed. Another BC farm is pleading with CFIA to spare their birds after an avian flu outbreak. Also ahead.
The mood is in a much more practical place, which is we need cash for everyday living.
World Cup woes. Most Canadians feel they can't afford to see games in person. And how many think hosting the games is actually worth it? When CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. Part Part of the Stanley Park Seawall will be closed this week in order for crews to perform manual maintenance and install new barriers. The section between 3rd Beach and Prospect Point will be blocked off until Friday. It's an area particularly exposed to wind, rain, and snow, making it more vulnerable to weather damage. Crews will be stabilizing the rock to minimize these hazards. This year, crews will also be installing new concrete barriers to make the area safer. A map showing available detours is available on the city's website. Just over 6 months until Vancouver hosts the World Cup of Soccer, and it seems a lot of people are having second thoughts about going to any of the games. Simply put, many fans say it's just too expensive. Sinjin Alexander with the details.
There are a lot of fans who can't wait for it all to start. Canada is in it after all, and tickets are being snapped up. That is, by those who have the cash.
Most people can't afford that kind of stuff. It's kind of like the Taylor Swift concert. I don't understand how people afforded that either.
Looks like he's right. A poll by Angus Reid finds 7 in 10 Canadians say tickets are just too expensive.
And it's got a lot of people in this province and the country asking, is this FIFA tournament for the elites or is it for everyone?
The survey also suggests many people want seats as an investment, if they can get them, in order to mark them up and sell them on.
If we got them, I would go, but we haven't gotten any.
Now, perhaps not surprising, Canadians don't believe hosting the games is worth it if the country does not turn a profit. Having said that, Angus Reid also finds excitement is building. Most people are looking forward to seeing it all unfold and who wins.
There's always drama around a FIFA tournament, so that drama will always naturally take on its own course and its own life, and those who are paying attention, or even those who are not, might get caught up in some of the enthusiasm of it.
The cost of hosting all 7 games in Vancouver, which is being paid for by all levels of government, is estimated at $750 million. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
5 bystanders whose quick thinking saved the life of a tennis player who collapsed in Richmond this past summer have been recognized for their heroism. 4 of the 5 received the Vital Link Award from BC Emergency Health Services this weekend. The other, a retired member of the RCMP, was given a commendation letter and challenge coin. The man they saved, Brian Say, was in attendance for the ceremony. He collapsed while playing tennis in July and his heart stopped. The man quickly began CPR and ran to get a defibrillator and were able to resuscitate him.
We are so grateful, forever grateful. They've given our family time, which I want to talk to them about later. We've had time to be a family for who knows how many more years, and we have a young grandchild who still will get time to be with her grandfather.
After the heart attack, Brian Say had a pacemaker and defibrillator inserted into his chest that is connected to doctors at VGH for monitoring. A Richmond woman charged after a pro-Palestinian protest was in court. What her lawyer is saying, also ahead.
The storm that passed through created a large swell that's generated very big waves here at Garrapata State Beach.
Stormy waters claimed the life of a 7-year-old Calgary girl and the life of her father, who desperately tried to save her when she was swept away. That's ahead. A woman who was arrested at a pro-Palestinian protest at UBC last year appeared at a Richmond court this morning. Susan Bibbings was arrested in May of 2024 and charged with obstruction after police say she did not comply with police direction during the protest. Bibbings' lawyers say her demonstration was merely an act of peaceful demonstration that accords with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Freedom of speech is independently protected. So the question becomes, what does peaceful assembly protect? And in my submission, it's the right of people to occupy physical spaces for the purpose of collective expression.
Bibbings could face jail time depending on the verdict, but says she's prepared for any outcome. In Toronto, the Palestinian flag was raised outside City Hall for the very first time today. Toronto City Council voted last week to mark the 37th anniversary of the Palestinian Declaration of Independence with the flag raising. A pro-Israel group attempted a court injunction to prevent the flag from being raised, but the motion was defeated this morning. This comes after the Government of Canada recognized Palestine back in September.
For a long time, we've not been able to talk about Palestine or express our Palestinianness in public spaces. And because of our collective efforts, we are here today to raise the Palestinian flag and celebrate the unity we have formed over the last several years.
Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow did not attend the flag raising, nor did she attend the Israel flag raising ceremony back in May. The Ontario government is considering changes to the province's sex offender registry, which would make some information public. This comes a few weeks after Canada's highest court struck down mandatory minimum sentences for possession of child pornography. Legislation is expected to be introduced next week, and Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he wants parents to be aware if there's someone on the registry who lives nearby. But there are some worries with what some members of the public could do with that information.
And we're going to be looking at vigilantism in neighborhoods, demonstrations in front of homes.
And that gives a person who's on the registry a greater awareness that, you know, they must behave, they must uphold the laws.
Doug Ford doesn't expect the proposal to be challenged in court, but says he would use the notwithstanding clause in a heartbeat if needed. A Calgary man has died in Central California after trying to save his young daughter from being pulled into the ocean.
The storm that passed through created a large swell that's generated very big waves here at Garrapata State Beach.
On Friday, 39-year-old Yuji Hu entered the water at Garrapata State Beach, about 200 kilometers south of San Francisco, to try to save his daughter after she was swept off the shoreline by waves, expected to be as high as 6 meters. As he reached for his 7-year-old daughter, the two were swept into the ocean. A Good Samaritan helped pull Hu from the water, but he died in hospital. A volunteer diver drove 3 hours to help lifeguards find the missing girl.
And when I was walking on the beach to the north, I saw her. I saw something in the wave that was coming up and down, and she was turning in one of the waves, and I was able to walk in the water, and I just grabbed her and take her out.
The girl's mother was also swept away trying to rescue her and was taken to hospital for hypothermia. Why some BC First Nations are calling for a pause on the commercial fishing of herring in the Strait of Georgia. Also ahead.
We get to see the eggs. We get to see small fry.
An up-close look at the cycle of life, how these Vancouver Island students are taking part in helping salmon stocks of the future. That's ahead.
Ignition and liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Sentinel-6B.
SpaceX has sent an ocean mapping satellite into orbit. The Falcon 9 craft lifted off from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base on board a Sentinel-6B satellite that will help measure sea levels around the world. It's part of the European Union's Earth Observing program. A group of First Nations is calling on the federal government to put a pause on the commercial fishing of herring in the Strait of Georgia.
The seals, the sea lions, the whales will all disappear slowly as a result of the loss of herring in our territory.
The group is calling for a moratorium from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans on commercial herring fishing. They say the herring are a prey fish and that commercial boat fishing could cause long-term effects if herring are not available for predatory creatures like seals and whales. They're also claiming it's a violation of their constitutional rights. An animal sanctuary in the Okanagan is pleading with the CFIA to spare its peacocks after an avian flu outbreak forced the culling of 15 birds. Critter Aid in Summerland says they immediately shut down their farm after several chickens tested positive for H5N1A a few weeks ago. They say their peacocks have been completely isolated from the affected areas and have no direct contact with other birds. The sanctuary says they are still waiting for the CFIA to make its decision. A group of lucky students from Vancouver Island got a chance to get up close and personal with some local salmon. As CTV's Brendan Strange shows us, it was an opportunity for the students to better understand the complicated life cycle of our Pacific salmon and the beginning of a new relationship that will last until the end of the school year.
So these lucky salmon that are up here, they were collected at the fish fence.
Grade 3 students from Willway Elementary School in Langford paid a visit today to the Goldstream Hatchery for an up-close look at the complicated life cycle of our Pacific salmon.
We get to see the eggs. We get to see small fry.
Nature has created a perfect recipe for the species' survival, and the children began with a crash course in egg fertilization from a salmon at the end of her life's journey.
Wendy right now is just shaking out the eggs.
Volunteers with Fisheries and Oceans Canada's Stream to Sea program then extracted milk from a male coho, which was used to fertilize those eggs.
So they're seeing this conclusion become a beginning, and it's neat.
You're watching fish babies get made.
Yeah, I never saw that.
That was just the beginning of the process. Those eggs are then placed in a tray and rinsed. Once that milk has had enough time to fertilize, the trays of eggs are then carefully moved into this room where they will sit in darkness and begin to develop.
So we've got to be careful not to jostle them.
Within a month, 2 dark spots will develop within them, resembling specks of pepper.
And those are the eyes of the fish.
At this point in the tour, these children were able to get involved.
It was super interesting.
As well as meeting others that have lived out their life in the ocean and are now at the end of their cycle of life. You can call this an introduction of a friendship that will pick up again in January.
So we get fertilized eggs that come to our class, and so then the children basically get to follow the cycle from eggs to Avian to fry, and then we release them into Goldstream itself.
It's a program designed to show the next generation of environmental stewards how to care for and protect our salmon populations.
By us being involved, we're able to ever so slightly protect these eggs and increase their survival rate to have more salmon available in our watersheds.
Brendan Strain, CTV News, Langford.
From the Tower Bridge in England to the Taj Mahal in India, an Alberta senior is bringing international landmarks to life in his basement. But his latest project is a little closer to home. Esmond Warren has spent countless hours building a model of the Alberta legislature out of matchsticks. His daughter gave him the first kit as a Christmas present, and his hobby grew from there. Of course, the challenge now is he's running out of space.
I wish we had somewhere where we could display them so that, you know, people could see them if they're interested, because when I make them, then they stay down in our basement, and our basement's getting full.
Warren expects his legislature project to be complete this winter. Wow. That is amazing. How does he get the curves? Like, there's little circles and everything.
I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure there's got to be a gallery or some kind of space that would want to show his work. That's amazing.
Like a matchstick gallery?
Yes, a coffee shop, right?
Home craft gallery, yeah, or a coffee shop. There you go.
That would be fantastic.
They're beautiful.
All right, so let's take a look at our forecast now. Mostly cloudy skies out there right now. Today was a warm day. We saw a high of 11.9 degrees, well above the seasonal average. It was warm overnight as well at 8.1. And we're in the 17th day of November. So far, we've seen 71.6 millimeters of rain, about 100 millimeters shy of the seasonal average of 171.2 millimeters. So right now we're dealing with a break in between systems. It is dry right now with overcast conditions. As we head into this evening and tomorrow, we are seeing a line of showers already for the north coast. Higher elevation seeing some mixing. Haida Gwaii also seeing some wet weather. weather into tomorrow morning for your morning commute. It will be cloudy for Vancouver Island. It'll stay cloudy for the south coast and lower mainland, but it clears up quite nicely for the island areas slowly. That will happen to us on the south, on the lower mainland as well. Lots of sunshine in store for the northeast corner of the province. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. You're looking at a mix of sun and cloud after the clouds clear for Port Hardy, 7 degrees. 8s for Campbell River and Comox after the clouds clear as well for the South Island. Mix of sun and cloud for Tofino and Port Alberni. It'll stay mostly cloudy from Nanaimo right down to Victoria. Temperatures at 9 degrees. Also seeing 9 degrees is the Sunshine Coast under a mix of sun and cloud. Cloudier up the Sea to Sky Highway, Squamish at 8. Showers for Whistler, 4 degrees. And for us across the lower mainland, cloudy skies for the most part. A few showers through the afternoon for Abbotsford and Chilliwack. You'll see temperatures between 8 and 9. A few sunny breaks for Wednesday with a high of 9 degrees. A touch warmer, 10 degrees on Thursday under cloudy skies. And then showers return on Friday with rain starting the weekend on Saturday, continuing to Sunday. Tapering off into showers with some sunny breaks in there. Light rain expected for Monday as well with a high of 9. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So still a few dry days ahead before the rain returns. So enjoy it while it's here.
Dry, but not a lot of sun in that forecast.
No, just little breaks. Enjoy those ones.
Yeah, we'll focus on the gray, I guess, this week. All right, thanks, Ann. Well, navigating love on our local waters, how first impressions are not always right. A romantic fairy tale coming up.
I just lost all faith in humans, especially people that you trust.
Financial nightmare. An Ottawa couple has lost $300,000 after a so-called investment scheme soured. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was down 9 cents, closing the day at $59.86. Gold lost nearly $20 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both ended the day lower, down 250 points and 557 points. Canada's inflation rate dropped slightly in October, down to 2.2% compared to 2.4% in September. Stats Canada says falling gas prices and slower growth in grocery prices helped fuel the decline. That contrasted with higher prices for cellular services as well as home and auto insurance. The Bank of Canada has cited stable inflation as one of the main reasons it signaled a halt to rate cuts last month. Every day, people across the country are falling victim to scams. Last year alone, Canadians lost more than $600 million. Tonight, an Ottawa couple is speaking out after losing $300,000 in a suspected investment fraud. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has more.
5 years from retirement, Adnan Siddiqui thought he'd finally built the life he came to Canada for. Instead, he's facing a financial setback he never imagined.
I just lost all faith in humans, especially people that you trust.
He and his wife say they put more than $300,000, a second mortgage on their Ottawa home, into what they believed was a safe investment. A Toronto-based company called Highway Capital, introduced by people they trusted.
They approached us saying that there's this fantastic investment opportunity where we can make a lot of money.
The contract promised a 2% monthly return and their money back after 1 year, signed, they believed, by the company's CEO.
They said that they were investing in two things, I remember. One was stock trading. He said there were no risks. That's exactly what his words were. We're looking at the original agreement.
Siddiqui says payments were supposed to start in July, but July came and nothing. It wasn't until the end of August that 2 months' worth arrived, and then he says everything stopped.
He said, oh, there's a glitch with your banking. Don't worry, it's going to come.
Siddiqui says the man they dealt with, Chief Operating Officer Mark Cummings, eventually introduced them to Eugene Todorov, described as a senior partner. He says they tried to withdraw their investment, but never saw a dime.
Eugene and Mark, they were saying, don't worry, everything's going to be fine.
CTV News has learned of at least 5 others with similar stories, including 2 named in an ongoing civil lawsuit with a combined $1.5 million in losses. But those involved say that total could be much higher. And the man listed as CEO, Vlad Marchuk, says he left the company in April 2023, and the signature on the Siddiqui's contract is a forgery. In an email, Cummings denies all allegations and declined further comment. We reached out to Todorov as well, but did not hear back.
The fact that they are using others to recruit some of these victims suggests that this is a relatively large-scale operation.
This senior fraud investigator says the way the investment was pitched raises concerns, especially the unusually high returns.
That in and unto itself is a huge red flag.
The Ontario Securities Commission wouldn't say if it's investigating, but confirms neither Highway Capital nor Mark Cummings are registered to deal or advise in securities in Ontario. As for Siddiqui, he says the hardest part isn't just losing the money, it's the trust.
I still believe that we were pushed into doing something that we were not ready or willing to do by people that we completely trusted.
The most remote pub on Vancouver Island and likely in Canada has gone up for sale, and it could be all yours for less than you might think. The Scarlet Ibis at the top of Vancouver Island in the community of Holberg was put on the market late last month with an asking price of $889,000. The oceanfront pub offers potential buyers a turnkey business with a well-earned reputation as a local gathering spot. There's a connected two-bedroom suite and miniature visitors cabins, perfect for folks who prefer a short commute to work while living amongst the natural beauty of northern Vancouver Island. The Grey Cup is going back to Regina. The recap, the reaction, and the team's return to Ryderville still ahead. Plus, fairy tale. Adam finds out how an unlikely couple's love story unfolded on board a BC ferry. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning Vancouver.
Well, storm season is upon us. Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, the top home risks and how to prep before the next spurt of wild weather. Plus, November is CPR month. We'll learn how quick action can save lives. We'll see you in the morning.
Former Toronto Blue Jay Edwin Encarnacion is among a dozen newcomers on this year's Baseball Hall of Fame ballot. Edwin spent half of his 16-year career with Toronto, the other half with 5 other teams, including the Seattle Mariners.
Fly to deep right field. Back goes Lucas at the wall.
And Canadian first baseman Josh Naylor is staying with the Seattle Mariners. Naylor was a key player for Seattle after being acquired at the trade deadline from Arizona. Naylor will be paid $92 million over the next 5 seasons. The field for next year's FIFA World Cup is now officially more than 2/3 full.
Florian Wirtz. Oh, what a gorgeous pass. Here now is Leroy Sané. Lovely.
Germany and the Netherlands both booked their tickets for next summer's tournament with wins today. 34 of the 48 teams are now locked in, with 5 more spots from Europe up for grabs tomorrow. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are fresh off of their 5th Grey Cup win in franchise history, and fans in Saskatchewan were out to show their support and to give their team a hero's welcome home. CTV's Jacob Carr has more.
The 112th Grey Cup champions, Saskatchewan Roughriders!
The morning after the Riders hoisted the Grey Cup and green and white confetti flute at Princess Auto Stadium, fans of the team were eager to get their hands on some Grey Cup merch at the Rider store.
It's pretty good. A lot of t-shirts.
Whether it was Grey Cup champions hats or t-shirts, the clothing was flying off the shelves.
What a great game. It was good to watch. Let's get worried at the end there, though.
And as players made their way back to Mosaic Stadium, Rider Nation was there to greet them, some saying that they couldn't miss this opportunity to welcome the team home.
I went down to Winnipeg on Friday, drove from Saskatoon
8 hours, but had to come. So on my way back home, I had to come support them.
Then it was time for some of the riders to deliver speeches and get the crowd fired up.
Play hard and win hard, baby. We gotta fight.
So this Grey Cup is your guys' as well. And so anybody that wants to say we only got 5, well, guess what? How many did they get this year?
Next up for the green and white is the Grey Cup Parade, and for some it'll be a first-time experience, even if they've been covering local sports for 40-plus years.
I've been to Grey Cup parades with my mom in Toronto in 76, 78, Montreal 79, 81, Toronto in 80, you know, the Grey Cup parade preceding the game. I've never been to a Ryder Grey Cup victory parade, and so I'll take one off the bucket list tomorrow.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
We are getting the first look today at the much-anticipated live-action remake of Moana. Catherine Lagaya, Dwayne Johnson, the role as shape-shifting demigod Maui. It comes just a year after Disney released an animated sequel to the 2016 original. You can catch it in theaters next July. Can you believe that they're doing a live-action remake?
Yes, I can believe it.
It was so popular.
So many.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's Mission Impossible No More for Tom Cruise. The action star has finally been awarded an Oscar. The actor accepted an Academy Honorary Award last night at the Governor's Awards in California. In his acceptance speech, Cruise reflected on his love of cinema and paid tribute to everyone who makes films possible. Tom Cruise has been nominated for 4 Oscars over the course of his more than 40-year career, but has never won. Yeah, it's good that he got one because he does all his own stunts, right?
Sure. Apparently.
So he says. Okay, Lauren's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Mijang, a desperate search continues for a missing senior on Vancouver Island tonight. And now the Serious Crimes Unit has stepped in. And we have more reaction from Bailey McCourt's family as her estranged husband now faces a first-degree murder charge. What they have to say and new remarks from the accused as he appeared in Kelowna court today.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Finally, Adam meets a couple who share their story of how they fell in love while working together in a story that can be best described as a fairy tale on tonight's Sawatsky Sign-Off.
It was not smooth sailing when working on this BC ferry. Les Fox first met Jordan Sankey.
I said, "You're Jordan." She goes, "And who the HE double hockey sticks are you?"
Not one bit did I like this man. I thought he came off as arrogant.
Well, I guess I come off as a bit of a jerk sometimes, but I'm actually a nice guy.
Although Les worked in the engine room downstairs and Jordan supported the customers upstairs, they happened to meet again in the common crew room when she walked in with her dinner to find only him.
I felt like it would be way too rude to walk out.
So she stayed, before their initially awkward conversation turned unexpectedly effortless.
I found out she's intelligent in ways that I'm not intelligent in.
That he's not actually mean, that he's actually quite a very funny man.
And for the rest of the week, they ended up spending all their dinner breaks together.
I guess we've just kind of been inseparable ever since.
They started seeing each other away from work, and along with having a lot of fun, inspired each other to be better people.
He's just taught me so much. It's too much to even say.
Over the past 2 years together, Les says he's learned to be more kind and lower that tough exterior.
I can be open and truly loving with Jordan. I've never really felt like this before with anybody.
So, during a recent road trip, Les says he made an impromptu proposal.
And then I remember just being like, "Hey, you want to get married?" And she was like, "Yeah."
That was not his idea. That was mine.
No matter who asked whom, Jordan and Les both decided to vow "I do" where they first met, on board a BC ferry, surrounded by 70 members of their ferry family.
You may kiss your bride.
It was very overwhelming. Felt completely right.
She takes care of me. and I want to take care of her.
And if this fairy tale romance were to have a fairy tale moral, Jordan and Les say it's don't judge a book by its cover. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
See, she almost walked out of that lunchroom and did not have she had a bad first impression. Did you guys have a good first impression of your husbands?
Oh my goodness, it's been so long.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Do we admit that publicly either, right?
It was love at first sight. It was full on, you know, Disney movie.
But it worked out, right?
Exactly. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. Check out this gorgeous photo, adding in a little color to our gray day at Queen Elizabeth Park. Thanks, Robin, for sending this beauty in, and we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. Email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca. And the leaves are slowly, you know, being blown off. So I hope you were able to enjoy those.
Yeah. By the fact you guys didn't answer my question about the husbands,
I love him so much.
So much love.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Lauren's back at 11:30.
Good night.
Good night.